This is the brief on the tactical impact of inverted wingers in congested modern football tournaments. With expanding formats like the 48-team 2026 World Cup bringing extreme heat and brutal 72-hour turnarounds, this incredibly versatile role has actually evolved from a cool tactical luxury into a literal survival tool for managing a team's energy and space. First, you gotta understand how this role has completely evolved. So instead of a traditional wide player just hugging the touchline to cross the ball, an inverted winger plays on the opposite side of their strong foot, like a left footer on the right flank. Think of them less as wide runners and more as wide playmakers who cut inside to shoot or act as a second striker, completely collapsing the opponent's defense centrally. Second, this positional flexibility directly answers the brutal physical demands of modern tournaments. Seriously, when your squad's legs are totally gone by the second week, how do you adapt? You just can't sustain a constant high press in extreme heat. But an inverted winger can fluidly execute 3 or 4 roles, pressing aggressively, tracking back, or attacking the center. This lets managers shift the entire team structure mid-game without burning a precious substitution. Finally, there's this massive energy-saving ripple effect. Because these wingers cut inside, they naturally overload the midfield and create huge pockets of space out wide for overlapping fullbacks. This setup perfectly triggers calculated, explosive bursts of pressure in specific moments, rather than exhausting constant running. You literally conserve vital squad energy while staying psychologically destructive to the opponent. In the grueling landscape of modern tournament football, adaptation beats identity. And the team that best utilizes the positional flexibility of the inverted winger is for sure the one lifting that trophy.
In the 2026 World Cup, the traditional wide-crossing winger was statistically the most useless player on the pitch. Welcome to the deep dive.
Yeah, glad to be here.
So today we're taking our stack of sources for you. We've got tactical ebooks, analytics, blogs, and live reports straight from the tournament to synthesize exactly how brutal North American heat and a massive structural shift officially killed the classic winger.
We all have that, that nostalgic image of a winger sprinting down the touchline to whip in a cross. It's iconic.
Oh, sure, the classic romanticized view of the game.
Exactly. But the live reports from 2026 definitively proved that romanticizing the past just doesn't win modern matches. I mean, the data shows a complete tactical extermination of that role.
Okay, let's unpack this a bit.
Right.
Because we all know inverted wingers have been the standard for a while, right? You line up on the flank opposite your strong foot.
Right, yeah.
It's basically like a Trojan horse. You start out wide to stretch the defensive shape, but your real objective is attacking the center of the board.
What's fascinating here is the tactical math that drove the 2026 shift. When those inverted players cut inside, they force a central overload in high-probability scoring zones.
Right, which is great for scoring.
It is. But by doing that, they vacuum all their own presence out of the wide areas. So you suddenly have this massive empty corridor along the touchline. And, well, mathematically, someone has to occupy that space to maintain attacking width.
Here's where it gets really interesting, though, because looking at the analytics blogs we pulled, they point out players like Hakimi, Reece James, and Mark Cucurella stepping up.
Yeah, the fullbacks.
Right. So I have to push back a little here. Are we sure the winger is actually dead? Because, it looks to me like we've just slapped a fullback label on a guy who is bombing down the flank and delivering crosses anyway.
That is a fair observation.
Yeah.
But structurally, it is fundamentally different. I mean, the modern fullback isn't just a winger who defends a bit more.
Oh.
No, they are operating like a piston. They have to constantly fire up and down that abandoned flank to provide the width, while the nominal winger operates almost as a dual number 10.
Oh, wow. So it's a completely different engine running the team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In 2026, the data showed that if your national team didn't have these hybrid, hyper-aggressive fullbacks functioning as those pistons, you were just structurally broken before kickoff.
Which brings us to the specific conditions of the 2026 tournament itself. Because the sources highlight this wasn't just like a gradual evolution.
Right.
It was a sudden collapse triggered by the environment. North America in the summer, a 48-team format, super compressed recovery windows.
The physical toll was unprecedented. I mean, you have players enduring 90-degree heat with massive travel distances between matches.
Right, flying all over the continent.
Yeah, and high-pressing systems literally melted down after 30 minutes. To survive the heat and manage just the sheer fatigue, players had to execute 3 or 4 positional roles interchangeably.
So what does this all mean for the tactics? Because when teams can't press, the live reports noted they retreated into deep, low blocks. Up to 25% of the time they were out of possession, teams were just packing the penalty box to survive.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, that is the exact mechanism that made the classic winger obsolete.
Because of the low block.
Yes. When a defense is packed that tightly, sending a traditional winger down the touchline to launch a hopeful cross into a forest of 10 defenders is statistically terrible.
You're just hitting a brick wall.
Exactly. You need scalpels, not sledgehammers. Teams required dynamic, inverted players to surgically dismantle tight defensive blocks through the center with quick combinations. They couldn't just rely on a lucky header from a wide cross anymore.
It totally reinforces the primary lesson of the modern game, honestly. Adaptability always beats a fixed identity.
Yep, 100%.
If a player approaches the game like a rigid piece of chalk glued to a specific spot on the board, they're getting exposed.
Which leaves you with a critical question moving forward.
Oh, I like where this is going.
Well, think about it. If wingers are moving centrally to become the primary playmakers and goal threats, and fullbacks are firing up the flanks to provide the width, will the traditional center forward soon become completely obsolete? I mean, entirely crowded out by this evolution.
Wow. That entirely scrambles the board. Moving from rigid formations to a fluid system where everyone is everything all at once, that is definitely something for you to keep your eye on the next time you're analyzing a match.
If you enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please consider subscribing to Decision 45. Your support means the world to us and helps us keep creating high-quality content just like this. Don't forget to hit that like button, leave a comment with your thoughts, and subscribe so you never miss an update.